Hello, Sue Whale here from the Floristry Trade Club. Happy Christmas. And I'm going to show you how to make a simple, traditional, sustainable Christmas door wreath. Now, I've started off with a metal 12-inch wreath frame. I used real wire, which I attached to the frame. Then I covered it with moss. Now, I've used moss because it is sustainable. After Christmas, you can take this all apart and you can reuse the moss in your garden. The moss goes on in sausages, which I tease out to make them nice and soft, and I pull out any twigs or anything which is getting in the way. You can use moss purely, or you can use moss and straw, or you can use hay, or a combination of those three. Moss I prefer because it's nice and soft, so it's easier to put the decorations in. Once I've covered my frame in moss, I do two things. I first of all don't cut the real wire because I will need that, and I also take some coloured twine and I actually make a top and a hanger for my wreath. The reason I do this is because this is easier to do when the wreath is actually at this stage or just with the moss, and also you know where your top is, so when you come to the point where you want to add a bow, either top or bottom, you know where you're hanging it from. Once it's covered in moss, I then start with the greenery. Now I've got a selection of spruce and also some conifer. Really you can mix in anything which is evergreen. You can mix in ivy, viburnum, anything which will give it some variety. If you're doing a wreath class, I would recommend that you pre-cut your foliage. Stops your students using too much, and also if you can pad it out with other foliage other than stuff that you've bought, then obviously that makes it more economical. I've added the spruce and the conifer on in small bundles, which I've used the real wire to wrap round, and I've gone round in a concentric circle to make this base. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, just has to be nice and full. I think that's looking pretty good. If you've got any odd bits sort of floating around, you can always trim them off. And then once you're happy with your shape, again it doesn't have to be perfectly circular. A couple more bits in there. And then just one last twist with your real wire. And then cut it off at the back. And then you just tuck the real wire, the end, through the frame and loop it round, and then you won't need it again. And now I am ready to put my decorations on.